What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Bianconeri zone. Welcome back to a show where I think we just need to take some time, sit back and assess what's actually happening or could happen this summer, because it's been an all saga, a big drama story surrounding Douglas Luiz with McKennie. I'm not going to talk about McKennie really right now. It's about the players involved in the deal, Barnechea, for example, but also the links with Sule, Huijsen, Miretti, all leaving, and why you cannot make certain mistakes this summer. No matter how much you want a player, you also need to think about the future of this club. Now, I said, I give Giuntoli 2 full summers before I can sit here and say I don't believe in him or I do believe in him. Early signs are good, and early signs are also bad. So no assessment for me right now, but the Sule one, the Huijsen one, the Barnechea one, for example, it feels forced, especially the Barnechea one. It feels like we force ourselves to get Barnechea in that Douglas Luiz deal. Now, we can talk about, do we actually need a player like Douglas Luiz, or do we need a player like Barnechea more? We can have that debate, have had that debate already. You can rewatch it as well. We will have that in the future, definitely. But the point was that the idea was McKennie was going into the deal. And at the same time, all the news stories were Thiago Motta actually likes Barnechea. He wants to use him in preseason, and actually not just use him, he is inclined in keeping him at the club and actually playing him as well. You cannot go from that to go to Aston Villa in the matter of, 12 hours it happened? That cannot be the case, because that's not really planned. That's shifting on the fly, which I don't like, which is a bit worrying, I'm not gonna lie, and also because of the age. Now, value on the books, I get it for the club, big time. Even if they added extra cash to Villa on the books, moving Barnechea was a big win for the club. It will do quote-unquote wonders for the club. But man, you cannot do that with all players. You need to find the balance right now. You cannot turn around and I'll say, okay, Huijsen, we want quote miners, you can leave as well. We want that player, Sule, you can leave. What about actually trying to value your own players as well, instead of just get rid and bring all in new? Because at one point, you also need to look at the development of certain players. It cannot be that you just kind of keep Yildiz in the squad. Then it's actually a cash cow. Then the next gen is purely for the money and not really for the players, Then it becomes more of an issue. Also for new players coming into the club as well, because they get used. At one point, they will know that, hey, if I come, I will get my chance, probably, but I will get used in one sort of swap deal or just a straight up transfer or whatever. It's going to happen, it is going to happen. And we need to look at these things because, yes, value on the books is good, but it also needs to make sense. You cannot just include players just for the sake of the value on the books, and then you get a player in return who is good, Douglas Luiz. I'm not saying that, but my honest opinion is he wasn't a need, like a big time need we definitely needed at this club. That was my feeling. I was happy, and I was especially happy because, man, we got rid of McKennie, who is just an average player, period. You can find 1,000 of those type of players, nothing special. You get rid of him. Junior, sad part. I'm still sad about that because I've not seen enough to say, yeah, he can leave. He's not good enough for this club. So that's part still stands. But now you get Barnechea as well out, and it's when Barnechea left on loan at Frosinone, I was and then he played for Frosinone. I was like, wow, what a development the player made. He's calm on the ball, possessed, defensively good, aggressive, can play the ball forward big time, is composed. And I'm like, wow, this is the type of player you should be keeping in the squad. Young, very cheap on value, wage-wise, excuse me. That's a player you should be keeping. And now we're being forced into putting him in a deal for Douglas Luiz, which at the start of the window wasn't planned to get Douglas Luiz. And then it came along the line, and you were like, okay, now we can move on McKennie. And now in 12 hours' time, you're like, no, we actually need Douglas Luiz. Barnechea, you leave. The Barnechea who actually we had in mind could have or could play a part in the season to come. That is worrying. You know, again, I will give Giuntoli 2 seasons, but I will come out and say what I do like and what I dislike so far. And maybe at the end, the big picture will make a lot of sense. Maybe the big picture is, man, Douglas Luiz is a big-time player and Barnechea is a good player, and that's about it. And maybe Junior will never develop. Like, we don't know. And maybe Douglas Luiz is the reason we will actually get back to winning ways. I have no idea. Only time will tell. That's why I said 2 summers. But early signs surrounding the youngsters are worrying to me, you know, because Sule and Huijsen, they're all tipped to just leave this summer. Not from bad sources, not a random Tuttomercato web, but like very, very, very good sources, basically on a daily basis, are linking Sule, Huijsen, Miretti, Nicolosi, if somebody really rates Nicolosi, all to leave. That's not a good sign. It really isn't. Like, that's not a good sign, you know? When you get a player like Chiesa and you're linked with an overpaid player like Sancho, then that's not good news. That's not positive news. I cannot sit here and be like, that's fantastic news. I cannot do that. You know, when we're sitting here and wasting our time on Rabiot, who's coming out in the media talking about, hey, everybody has a SPAD, it's worrying because you shouldn't be waiting on players of that level who don't offer much. I don't care what people say, not for the money they want. They're just not doing that. One good season, actually, out of 5. One good season for Rabiot where you're sitting there looking at it and you're like, you know what? That's a worthy season. Other than that, anonymous, just bleak, gray, you know? And we are waiting on those type of players whilst you're moving away your potential future. There needs to be a balance, and it's up to Giuntoli to find the balance. As of now, early signs suggest, regarding the young players, there's no balance. The balance, or actually the balance, is get them all out. Get them on the books, basically. Get the value on the books and not on the pitch, basically. Get them all out. Huijsen is linked with every single move. Sule, the same. You know, I know they said no to Villa, but that the only way they say no to Villa because they value him at 40 million euros, and Villa was not going to do that. That's why they said no to Villa. No chance. That's the only reason. Not because they believe in Chiesa or Sule, or not that Sule is definitely going to stay. It was just the value is too high. So Giuntoli will need to find a balance. But even Motta, like at one point, if he sells all these youngsters, I'm a bit worried. I am a bit worried. You know, again, because they're not finished articles, they're not world-class players, but we're not getting world-class players in return as well. We're getting good players who have more, you know, like matured better, basically, have more experience. But other than that, you're kind of selling your future, which is, it's a very worrying sign. It is a worrying sign, especially when it happens on the fly like Barnechea. But again, only time will tell if it's good or it's a bad move. So we just need to wait and see. But as of now, these early signs regarding the youngsters and the future are very worrying to me. But let me know in the comments what you think. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys back later tonight. Ciao.